traders, this is Roger Scott from Market Geeks with another video tutorial for you today. Before I begin, I'd like to remind you to subscribe to our video channel for trading videos and trading tips. And don't forget to visit MarketGeeks.com for your free swing trading report today. Many years ago when I first started trading, I was completely oblivious of stock sector analysis. I was under the impression that each stock traded completely independent of other stocks. My logic was based on the fact that each company is a separate entity and doesn't really have anything to do with other corporate entities. While my logic made rational sense, it made no sense to the reality of how the stock market worked. One of the first books I picked up when I first started out was How to Make Money in Stocks by William O'Neill. Truthfully, I didn't think much of the book when I first started reading it, but there was this one page that was in the middle of the book that had one paragraph that I couldn't get out of my head. It's been over 20 years and I can't think of the exact wording, but it alluded to the fact that individual stocks follow other stocks in the same sector over 70% of the time. I remember after reading that section thinking to myself, why is this author bearing such important information in the middle of a book in one obscure paragraph? It just made no sense to me whatsoever. I typically begin my analysis of sectors by looking at industries that went through a long trend in recent years. I want to find sectors that have been beaten up and are ready to make a comeback, or sectors that are trading above one-year highs. My goal is to find a market group and continuously monitor the stocks in that sector for pullbacks away from the main trend. One sector I'm currently looking at is the home building sector. This sector has been beaten up during the last several years and is beginning to look like it's making a turnaround in recent months. Take a look at this chart of KB Home, one of the country's leading home builders in several states. The stock has been in a bear market along with all the other stocks in that sector for over 6 years now. Notice the double bottom and the uptrend that began several months ago. Remember, this is a monthly chart which represents strong fundamental changes in the markets over several years. This is how you want to begin sector analysis with very long-term view of the sector. The second thing you need to do after you find a turnaround sector is to confirm that other stocks in the industry are following along or are correlating to the first stock you examined. You want to make sure that other larger stocks in the sector are pretty much doing the same thing, more or less. This is a very important step because when multiple stocks in the same sector are behaving the same way, it demonstrates that there's a fundamental reason for their behavior. Markets will not follow or mimic each other for extended periods of time when there's no fundamental relationship or basis between the two companies. Take a look at this chart of D.R. Norton stock. It's in the same industry group as KB Homes and has a similar business model. If you look at the two companies, you can see that they are trading very similarly to each other. I did not do correlation statistical studies, but I would bet that the correlation is over 85% by looking at the graph of the two stocks. The next step is to analyze both stocks together so you can see how they compare against each other in terms of strength and weakness. Notice we are deep into our analysis and we're still only looking at the long-term view of the sector. By looking at the sector through a magnifying glass, we can begin to see which stock is the best and worst candidate for short-term setups. Stock sector analysis is best approached from a long-term perspective. First, isolate the sector you're interested in and then begin analyzing the strongest and weakest stock in that sector. Once you identify the closest trading stocks, compare them side by side to see which one is the strongest and which one is the weakest out of the two. Once you go through this process, you can begin your short-term trade analysis and actual setup conditions for the strongest and weakest stock in each sector. Next time, I will show you where to go from here in your stock sector analysis research. That's it for today's tutorial. Please visit MarketGeeks.com to download your free swing trading report. This is Roger Scott wishing you the best in your trading.